Well, today we have a very special session. We have Tanisha here, who is a grant expert. And I get a lot of questions about grants, how to find grants, how to apply for grants, what's needed for a grant to be successful. And as soon as I heard one of my PBA members was actually working with Tanisha to work on some grants, I knew I had to have her here to pick her brain, get her expertise to share this with you. So, Tanisha, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background in terms of how did you get started with helping people with the grant process?
Yeah, beautiful. I had an internship in grad school uh, that led me to interact with a great mentor. My boss at the time strongly encouraged me to take a career in administration. My initial goal in attending grad school was to become an executive director for a nonprofit. So it was a complete 180 almost from what I initially wanted to do. But in that, in her teaching and coaching me, it led me into starting to learn the nuances of the grant fund process. So initially, I was helping our students at the time submit their paperwork to their faculty members for their portion of the grant. That then progressed into me being responsible for completing the budget for the grant or formatting the references and the resumes for the faculty members and things of that nature. So a very slow start from my internship into my first big girl job after graduating. And then progressing from there, I worked in higher education for about 7 years. Grants funds management was a large portion of that. So from research centers, I worked with the AI Institute at USC in South Carolina here, assisting with the growth of that department. We started in 2018, brand new. So funding for the organization was needed. We had a year to build up to about 4 to 5 faculty members and also to build the student populace there. So I worked with my executive director, and that became my first job where I was solely responsible for the grant fund process from beginning to end. So from start to finish, my mentor led me here to this conversation with you all today.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. So you've got a ton of experience on this. And you also currently help people today with grants, like writing grants, applications, etc. So you take that knowledge and continue to help small businesses with that, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Any and anywhere that I can kind of spread the knowledge of grants because free money is great money. So any way I can help a business achieve that goal and help them grow, I definitely lend my expertise. Have a lot of friends starting organizations or businesses and a few family members as well. So being able to again help them be successful is my only goal there.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So let's dive a little bit more into what a grant is, because I heard you say free money is good money, and grants, tell us more about what a grant actually is.
Yeah, beautiful. Grants are funds that a public or private entity have set aside to give to a cause uh, free of charge. The only reporting purposes that you have are towards the granting entity. So as far as reporting for, um, um, but it's funds from the granting entity to help an organization thrive, either via operational costs, either via helping with things as such as needing a new vehicle to help with your Meals on Wheels organization. Grants can be as broad or as specific as the lender would like for them to be. However, in that, finding those grants that fit the niche of the organization or of the business is something I kind of help you all with. So, broad definition of a grant: funds given from a entity, usually private or public, such as sam.gov for federal grants, or for private, such as the Duke Endowment here in the South. Both of those entities assist and give funds based on the causes that they would like to support.
Beautiful. And it's money that you don't have to pay back. Like a grant is literally you apply, and if you get selected, then it's here's X amount of dollars to support you and your business. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. And it is kind of that simple, right? You write your story and you let the funder know exactly who you are and why you'll benefit from these grants. I don't mean to oversimplify it, but it literally is presenting who you are in the best way you can, presenting why you need the funds and how you utilize them fully, and then turning that information in,
Hmm.
knowing that you have the best application out of everyone applying for that grant.
That's incredible. Okay, so do you have any examples of specific grants that you've seen for small business owners? I know you were working with Shawana on one. So, what are some? I know you said usually they're for a specific niche or cause, and also what was the dollar amount tied to some of those grants that you've been helping people apply for?
Yeah. So I'll use Shawana as an example. We've had a few submissions these last few weeks. So in that, this young lady works with hair care products geared towards minorities or people of color or persons with hair types that are typically not represented in the mainstream these days, such as locks or kinky, curly types of hair. So, in that specialization, we are able to one look for grants that specifically apply to minority business owners, women, people of color, LGBTQ plus. There are a plethora of grants, federal or public, that minority business owners qualify for, and or that are available to minority business owners. In that kind of dwindling the list further, right? Focusing on what her needs and goals are for the organization. So currently working on growth. So looking for organizations that provide grants that assist with business growth as far as size and size and equipment, as well as hiring more people to assist. So overhead costs as well. So looking into those, excuse me. Yes, sir. No, it's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Um, fudge biscuits. Excuse me. I do apologize about that. I had a sound
Okay.
and then he came in.
Okay.
Um,
Good. So you're just talking about different to help with overhead, to help with employees, to help with growth.
Yes, as well as there are grants as well with the overhead that you can use to supplement your income as well. So just picking and choosing one after have conversing with the business owner, right, what their needs actually are, and finding grants specifically tailored for that. So, most recently, we applied to the 15% grant geared towards assisting minority business owners with growing their brand. It included coaching and mentoring opportunities as well as being a part of a cohort group for a year or two for continued coaching to assist with not just growing the organization, but growing the business owner as well.
Mhm.
It attached to that, there were funds for the actual cost, such as looking on expanding our workspace. And again, as mentioned earlier, really looking on hiring employees to assist with making products, freeing up the business owner to focus on other things such as marketing, expanding to other areas of selling, such as Walmart or Amazon, being able to be a vendor on those lists, something we're looking to do. So overall, the price amount of that one was 50,000 of
Amazing.
the funds, and on top of that, also included the mentorship as well. So that is separate from the funds, not taken away. So
Mhm.
that distinction was beautiful because it allows over $100,000 worth of growth within the year and a half, 2 years of the grant process, excuse me, of the grant. So very excited to know the outcome of that one. We should
Yeah.
about a few weeks, but we had a very strong application. What is needed for that one? You definitely want supporting documentation, um, such as to bolster your claim as to why you are the best in the business. For instance, if you want to include a stat about how how the hair care industry has changed in the last 20 years, and how we have organizations and companies geared toward kinky curly hair types, but they may not have the best ingredients for those hair types. Looking up an article to have scientific facts to bolster that bolsters your application and shows legitimacy to what you're doing. Um, the story you tell in craft, uh, bolstered by, again, the research that you do to show the grantor or the funding organization that you know what you're talking about, you're different in the market, and that you're unique enough to be deserving of the funds that they are providing.
That is so interesting to hear that part about like uniqueness and the specific niche that you serve, because a lot of what we talk about in Product Biz Academy is your brand and your differentiator and what makes you unique and really niching down because a lot of people want to be for everyone. And as we talk about Shawana, I remember having conversations with her because on one of her marketing cards, she did have something like applicable for all hair types. And I'm like, Shawana, I know your products and your experience is for specific hair types. Like own it and claim it, and be
Right.
that specific for who you serve. And a lot of small business owners really struggle with getting that specific. And Shawana has done a great job of really niching down and owning that message. But hearing you say that that actually will make you stand out on a grant when you
Mm-hmm.
are super unique, when you're doing something different, just goes back to some of those really solid foundations of knowing what your brand is, what you stand for, how you're different than everyone else in the market. So it sets you apart. So they read this application and they're like, oh, yeah, we see this being done here, but she's totally right. What she's doing is a different spin on it. It's different in this way and that way, etc. So that is so cool to hear.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, let me ask you a couple other questions here. So I want to talk a little bit more about the application process but before we do that, how do people actually find grants? Where do they
Yeah.
go and how does this process work?
Beautiful. So, um, it is a fun process to start learning how to search for those. So, one, if you're looking for any federal or public type of grant, right? Federal, local, government, or state government wise, starting at their website, step one. Working with the public sector a lot in my past life, that is definitely step one. SAM.gov, for instance, for federal grants given by federal government, right? Each state has a state department as well that has funds set aside for certain things. For instance, North Carolina has a grant specifically to assist small business owners with getting their brand out into the market. So they have funds specifically designed for you to be successful. We just have to go and find them. um, with that as well for the more kind of public grants, such as the Duke Endowment or the Coca-Cola grant or Blue Cross and Blue Shield, South Carolina and North Carolina every year donates thousands and thousands of dollars to assist causes. Um, with that, a simple Google search is always a first start. That sounds kind of, again, simple, but grant funding and the grant process isn't that difficult, right? So start kind of with the Google search there for what your need is. So if you are an organization that paints murals for children's hospitals, and your need at the moment is paint, right? The cost of paint has gone up. And so we need to find funds specifically for you to get the specific kind of paint that works with this brick on the outside of the older hospitals. So we will start with Google, right? But however, there are also grant specific research databases as well that you can pay for, have a subscription to. But it's not needed for you to
Mm.
start your grant fund process at home. You do not need to pay $200-300 a month for your subscription. to be successful there. But definitely start with a Google search. Check your state, local, and federal sites for funds as well. That's definitely an overlooked um, area, I strongly believe, because a lot of grants there die without anyone applying because you'll see
Wow.
them reposted a few months later. So definitely check with your local and state government sites there for small business grants. There are a lot. They want to invest in the small businesses, right? You're making up the middle class. They want to bolster you. So allow them to and write a fantastic application and take all of their money to assist you with your goals. And again, to help you be successful there.
Beautiful. That was fantastic. So now let's talk a little bit about the application process. Let's say people find some grants, federal, local, state, looking on Google, these different companies that are offering them as well. What's the typical information that they ask? What's like, what information do people need to have ready when they're going through an application?
Yeah. So I always suggest kind of having a folder with your grant info or your grant backpack, for lack of a better word. These are things that you will need 100% of the time, regardless of where you're applying. Who are you? Your bio. We need to know who you are. Why are you able to run this organization? What qualifications do you have that lets the grant funder know and give them the confidence to give you the funds? Second, your business, an executive summary. What does your business do, right? So, who are you and who is your business and what services do they provide? As well as a general idea of budgetary needs, right? What are your needs? Having that written down, keeping an Excel sheet helps as well because there are millions of times you're working in the middle of the night and something pops in your brain of a need that you have. You wake up the next morning and it may be gone, right? So I suggest that as well. My brain works a little differently, so that helps me stay on track a lot. But I highly suggest that too, because again, maybe you need a random paintbrush that you think about while drawing, while sketching the mural you need for the children's hospital, but you may forget about it the next day. However, a grant may cover all of your needs, not just needs for the paint. So keep in mind exactly what the needs are of your organization, also the priority of the needs, right? Which is more important than the other, because that will also affect kind of where you search and what you're searching for, right? Timing is everything.
Mhm.
Along with that, having your financials in place as well, just so you do not have to look them up for each and every submission. Now, the requirements of what's needed financially will be different, but some type of financial paperwork will be required,
Mhm.
again, to bestow confidence upon the grant funder. The entire purpose of your application is to, again, show your best and show who you are, your uniqueness, but you also want to give the grantor confidence that if they're giving you this money, you'll use it how they intended for it to be used, right? For the betterment of you, the community, your organization, however the proposal is written. Um, and finally, having kind of a another, I call it a cheat sheet of references you've used for past grants, or if you receive feedback from past grants, having that there as well. Um, One, feedback can do nothing but help you grow and get better, but you can take that information into the next grant, right? You don't know what you don't know. So having that knowledge there uh, helps you, one, grow as a person or organization, but also helps your application be the best that it can be.
Yeah, that's awesome. This is such good information. And I love Because obviously I've heard about grants, and the reason I have you here is because I've never gone through the grant process. So I'm like, let me get an expert to ask you the questions. And it's so interesting to hear you say how you want to give trust to the person who's reviewing the grant so that you will do something impactful with these funds, that you have a plan, that it's going to impact your business and the community and the people that you serve and employees or wherever it's going to go. And that hearing that makes so much sense because that's going to be like, okay, this money isn't just going to go to someone. It's going to go to someone and serve some sort of deeper purpose to impact others, to grow this business, to help the community. And that
Exactly.
was a light bulb moment for me hearing you say that, which is
Beautiful.
incredible. I love that. Now, do you have any tips or best practices or feedback, mistakes that you see often with grants? Or what do you always, whenever you work with someone, what are some of the main things that it's like, okay, I see this over and over that we got to shift this?
Yes. Okay, I'll start with tips. As mentioned before, keep a backpack of everything you need for a grant. As you go through your first submission, put everything there. As you go, continue to grow in your grant finding and application process, tweak your backpack as needed because you may not need all the information you uploaded initially with that first grant, but I can 100% guarantee something in that backpack from the first submission you complete will be needed. So it won't hurt to, again, just keep um, your backpack stacked with your tools. Common mistakes is with budgeting and creating your budget for the grant. You never want to leave money on the table with your grant. You want to have a plan for how you plan to utilize each and every dollar down to the penny. Another kind of common thing I see, excuse me, in conjunction with building out your budget is also not including your justifications for your budget, right? Have numbers for how much it costs to rent out this warehouse or the cost it would be to hire an intern for a semester to assist with data entry for your organization. The more information you can provide, the better. Again, more facts is better than less facts for any grant you're applying to. That is one thing I can drill into your listeners here is definitely have facts. The more, the better, because again, us bestowing that trust. If I tell you that I have $5 that I'm going to give you, and I never give it to you, but I also have written in that I have written, oh, excuse me. I'm going to start that part over.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
all good.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Um, Example. So, for example, if I am applying for a grant that, again, requires me to include, oh man, brain, excuse me, I'll continue.
Yeah, it's
But
all good.
um, another tip, set best practice. This is in mistakes. Definitely want to make sure that your budget has use all the funds there, right down to the penny, along with your justification of where your budget, why your why behind the budget.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us don't include that. We just include why. Excuse me. We include how we intend to spend the funds. Excluding your why behind it will automatically get your application pushed to the side. You want to give, as we stated earlier, that confidence to the person reviewing your grant. As far as best practices, if you are able to, if you ask for feedback, if you do not receive any feedback, it still won't hurt to send an email out to just say, hey, I submitted this application for XYZ grant. I did not receive it. May you please provide any information as to why? I would sincerely appreciate it, something to that effect. One, if you plan to apply again next year, it helps you stand out. Also, too, you can never ever have too much feedback in the grant fund process because it's so nuanced. Every person reviewing a grant is different. Everything that they are looking for may be different. You may have a panel of 6 people with different expertise looking for different things in your application. One person out of these 6 may say no, and that disqualifies your grant. You deserve, as a person completing the grant, to have that information as to the why. So if you're not giving it, at least ask. I would say that is my biggest tip. Just be comfortable asking.
Yeah.
Not, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great tip because it sounds like the grant process is kind of a living and breathing process. It's like you're always going to be finding grants and applying, and the more you apply for, the more feedback you get. So it's just going to make your
Mhm.
application stronger and stronger, stronger. And different grants you apply for are going to give different feedback that if you take from this one and this one and this one, it's like, dang, that's going to be a really good application that you're going to feel strong, you're going to feel confident, and it's going to start really clicking, which is great.
Right. And
Yeah,
you'll be
great to
going
have
into
that
it
plan.
in no time.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how specifically you work with small business owners. Bring us back to that. Do you help them find the grants? Do you review their applications? Do you do the application for them? What's the extent of how you work with small business owners?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So initially, assisting with reviewing the grant, right? Ensuring all the parts and pieces of the puzzle are together in the most efficient and effective way. We do not want a 100-page proposal for unnecessarily, right? There may be things we can cut out, as well as assisting with the writing process. Grammar is something that I don't hate, right? I thoroughly enjoy reading pages and pages of documents. One, ensuring we're in compliance, as well as ensuring that we are, again, presenting you and your business in the best way. Um, and also templates, right? How should your grant be structured? Everyone does not have that knowledge, right? So being able to provide just kind of a structure outline of, well, what will work and how we can tailor it to you and your needs. Are ways that I currently help small businesses. I have helped with searching for grants as well. My current job schedule doesn't allow for me to get as deep into the research as I like that way, but definitely assisting with the writing and reviewing and ensuring you're presenting your best foot forward
Mm-hmm.
when applying. It's
Yeah.
definitely something one I cherish. I definitely will. I love helping someone be successful in whichever way that looks like for them. So being able to provide that footstep to
Yeah.
get them to their next step is what I aim to do.
I love that. And I feel that that's probably what people struggle with the most is the writing part, especially for two reasons. Number one, when you're in your own business, sometimes it can be hard because you're just in it, right?
Mhm.
And then also having your expertise of, okay, cool, here, this is great. And people who are reviewing grants also, let's spin it this way. Let's talk about this a little bit more. Let's add this in. Let's remove this. I think that is just incredible information to have from someone like you. So if someone is in the grant process or is like, okay, sign me up, I want to find these $50,000 grants and anything in between, how would they work with you and get a hold of you to potentially have you assist them in the grant process?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I am getting into my social media age.
Nice.
So I at Secure the Bag Grant Consulting.
Ah,
That
love it.
us, I will help you secure the funds for you, but also via email, stbgrantconsulting.com. Feel free to send any questions. I enjoy this process, right? Again, I enjoy helping people be great. So I love sharing my knowledge and expertise, but feel free just to reach out. Any questions, I'll respond as soon as I can.
Awesome. We'll make sure to put your contact info in the description so people can get a hold of you. Any last minute, anything else that we didn't touch on, or do you feel like we've covered the gist of what people need to know?
Hmm. Feel like we covered the gist.
Good.
Definitely don't be shy when applying. Apply. The more grants you apply for, the higher your probability of winning.
Mm-hmm.
You never apply to too many grants. That is the last caveat I will leave with the listeners.
Beautiful. I love that tip. Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. This has been such a great conversation. I'm so grateful for you and thank you for being here.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.